Hi lock lovers. Let's talk today about moisturizing your hair this winter. Let's talk about getting it down to a science so that we don't stress about it. In the winter, hair is harder, not harder to moisturize, but you have to get it down to a science to keep your lock babies sweet, okay? And in the winter, excuse me if I glance at my notes, okay? In the winter, the heater in your house alone, we don't think about this a lot of times. The heater pulls the moisture out of our locks. The winter wind and the snow and the cold rains itself, it takes all of that moisture out of our locks, and it makes the hair very dry. So here are some things that you may want to think about doing. Just simple little things, everyday things. Now, we have that classic thing, us ladies, gents also. When you put your wool coat on, you know, your hair gets trapped within it, you zoop, pull it out. And you're shedding hairs along the way, and you're drying the hair out at the same time. So just be mindful of that when you're taking your coat off. You know, you don't want those locks pulling in those wool coats. And it's hard to get a coat that is not wool, a professional looking coat. You know, you can get a puffer jacket, but you don't understand what I'm saying. Just be mindful of that. You have your winter headgear and your scarves automatically drying out, shedding of hair. What you can do to combat that, put on a silk scarf before you put on your hat. Put on a silk scarf to protect your hair, or you can have your hair in a protective hairstyle, an updo, a bun, ponytails, lock barrels, fish braids, any protective style during the winter to alleviate some of that problem. I should be following my own advice, but I don't like my hair up. I'm tender-headed. I like my hair down all the time, so I have to find ways to combat it. But yes, wear that silk or any silky material underneath your hat to keep that hair from shedding and drying out even more. Also, in the winter, I know a lot of people, they suffer from allergies, or their children have allergies. That you have humidifiers in your home, use the humidifier to moisten the air around you. A humidifier is a very good way to put the moisture back in your hair. If you don't have a humidifier, you can boil a pot of water, put a little bit of essential oils in that, and stay in that room and let that moisture accumulate in that room and get sucked into your hair. Have it down to a science. Use a little bit of castor oil. Castor oil is in the humectant family. Don't use too much castor oil because it's very viscous. So you want to have a light coating on your hair after you moisturize your hair with water or some water-based conditioner. But if you put a coating to seal the moisture in, such as castor oil, which is very humectant, it's a humectant, and it will pull that moisture out of the humidifier, that the humidifier creates or that the boiling water creates, and put that moisture into your locks. Now, you do not want, remember, castor oil is a humectant, so if you are going outside and the climate is very dry, it's going to suck all of that moisture out. So you have to be mindful. If you're using castor oil as a sealant, you're going to cover your hair up, and wherever you're going that is going to be very dry, cover it up, and when you get out of that dry climate, take it back off. But just remember, your heater is a drying agent, so you want to use castor oil sparingly. What else can we do to keep that hair moisturized? And you want to give attention not only to your locks itself and the scalp, but the oldest portion of your locks. Give it some extra care. Moisturize that portion a little bit more. We spoke about that previously in the video I did with moisture versus protein. So you want to take more care of your locks, the oldest part of your locks. Now, a warning about oils in winter. I'm guilty of it also. We tend to want to pour on the oils even more during the winter, thinking that it's going to be more effective. It is not going to be effective. A little goes a long way, especially if you're using an oil like castor oil. That's very viscous. You need to have a light hand. If your hair, if you're, like you have a seborrheic dermatitis or some sort of scalp condition, or you don't like heavy oils, or your hair's, you have a very thin texture, you may want to use a lighter oil, almond oil, mu oil, what other oil? Well, jojoba oil is also a very good oil, but you still want to use it, all lock lovers, period. You want to use that oil sparingly because if you notice, because you have kinky, maybe type 4A hair and onward, your hair, the first 2 inches of your hair, the oils from the scalp, they travel down the first 2 inches and then they stop. It because it's coiled so tightly, it doesn't get to the rest of the length of hair. So you don't really, unless you have dry scalp, you know that you have dry scalp, you do not need to oil the first, say, 2 inches of your hair. The rest of the hair will need it. The scalp is already oiled and the first 2 inches. A good oil to help you this winter and even all year long, as I've been saying, is jojoba oil. Jojoba oil mimics the sebum that your scalp produces, and you can put it along the rest of the length of your locks so that your scalp thinks that it is actually providing the moisture and the not moisture the sealant that your hair needs. But technically you really don't need for the first 2 inches or so of your hair, unless you know for surety that your scalp is dry. And automatically when you oil your locks anyway, some of that still gets rubbed onto your scalp. Or you can also steam your locks in winter. You can do steaming all year long, but in winter it may be very effective. If you do not have a Hooterful steamer, don't worry about that. You can use your hair dryer, but you would have to have freshly washed locks, and you would have to put a plastic cap on your locks or a plastic bag on your locks, and take a towel, soaked in water, and put that in a microwave for a couple minutes until it gets really hot. Wrap that around your locks and then sit under your hair dryer for 30 to 45 minutes. When your hair comes out, it's going to feel very packed and dense and moisturized. It's going to strengthen those locks. And if you tend to pick at your locks like I sometimes tend to do, instead of brushing off that lint, and you have some weak spots, it's not going to take care of the whole problem, but you'll see it tightens and solidifies some of that, and it holds that moisture in. So you might want to consider steaming your locks this winter, and you do not have to use a beautiful steamer. What else did I remember? Oh, for added, I'm sorry. I don't want to be redundant because I know I covered a lot of this in my first 2 or 3 moisturizing series that I did when I started doing YouTube tutorials, so I don't really want to be redundant. Oh, just remember, your number 1 ingredient for moisturizing locks is water. So any product that you're going to be applying, any moisturizer, conditioner, it should be water-based. That way you know that your locks are getting the moisture in that you need, and then you're going to go in and seal it. And if you think you're very heavy-handed with oils, like I tend to be in the winter, to combat that, at Bed Bath & Body I found this product called the Misto. and I got 2 of these in a pack for $20. This was not my idea. I got this from another YouTuber, Lovely Lacey. She doesn't make YouTube videos anymore. I wish she did. I love her personality. But she suggested using this mister. This is really for misting your salads with oil. But if you put your olive oil or jojoba oil, any oil of your choice, with any essential oils, yada yada, and you just put a fine mist on your hair, that's gonna be enough to moisturize your hair without having to be heavy-handed. So this will be your helper, this mister at Bed Bath and Body. And you can get another generic brand of these at Target, Walmart, any home goods store. You may be able to get something like this, a salad mister. And that is all. I really hope this helps someone out there, and I'm going to try to take my advice this winter when it comes to oils. I'm not going to be heavy-handed. I have to try to remember, unless your scalp is dry and you know that it is dry, there's no need to keep applying oils to your scalp. It is not going to moisturize your scalp. Your scalp already contains the oils that it needs. The oils travel down to the first 2 or 3 inches of your hair. So I'm not going to do that. And I will use a protective covering when I go outside. And I'm going to try to keep the air moist around me. I'm not going out to buy any humidifier. I will do the pot method on the stove. Anyway, lock lovers, until next time, bye.